Hello, welcome back. This is Grandpa Bob Young. We're going to continue to explore God's secret plan. And again, this secret plan that we're exploring was revealed to Mystic Luisa Piccarreta and others. In this particular episode, we're going to address the question of who is Luisa Piccarreta. Luisa Piccarreta was born in Italy. She was a mystic. She was born on Sunday, April 23rd, 1865. Providentially, 130 years later, on that first Sunday after Easter, which is when she was born, the day was proclaimed as Divine Mercy Sunday by Pope John Paul II. At age 13, Luisa sees Jesus in a vision carrying his cross, and he turns to her and asks, "Soul, help me." At age 16, she agrees to be a victim soul and join Jesus in suffering for the sins of mankind. Luisa suffered greatly in her role as victim. She was confined to bed for over 60 years in order to fulfill her mission. And the reason that Jesus created that situation is that he wanted to shield Luisa from the distractions of the world. She lived basically on the Eucharist. There were times where she was directed by her spiritual director to eat food, but she was unable to keep it down. It would come up, but it would be completely whole. It would not show any evidence of being chewed or anything. Luisa's mission was to write down her conversation with Jesus in a diary. We refer to these conversations as the volumes. The volumes are 36 handwritten notebooks. Now keep in mind, she wrote all this down, but she only had a second grade education. So she was basically writing this down, but did not necessarily understand all the points that Jesus was making. Luisa's experiences were very unique. During the night, Luisa would join Jesus in his sufferings and in his explorations of creation. We're going to cover that in subsequent presentations, but that was sort of mind-blowing about what would happen to her at night, because he would take Luisa on his explorations, which actually was outside of time. So she'd go into the past and into the present and actually observe certain things that happened in the past. So that's sounds a little crazy, but if you study what happens with Luisa and everything else, you believe what she says in her volumes. She would leave her body during these encounters and would appear as if dead. She would actually show symptoms of rigor mortis. And there was one time where people thought she was playing a game. They just left her alone. She laid there for a couple of weeks without moving. And then they finally brought in a priest, is in the next bullet here, that would come in, make the sign of the cross in the back of her hand, and she would revive and return to normal, and then write down the information that Jesus gave her. So that was really the norm, is that she would be in this state every morning, and the priest would come in and make the sign of the cross in the back of her hand, and she would revive and be a normal person, so to speak. The church was very aware of Luisa's mission. In fact, they appointed a priest named Hannibal Maria di Francia to be her censor librorum. And that is a person who officially reviews any writings and decides whether these writings are consistent with public revelation, which would be the Bible, and with church doctrine. And everything that Father Hannibal read was validated and confirmed to be consistent with church teaching. He's now Saint Hannibal de Francis, or de Francia. He's now a canonized saint in the Catholic Church. Luisa's writings are also the focus of a doctoral thesis. Father Joseph Iannuzzi wrote his doctoral thesis on the writings of Luisa. Father Iannuzzi has several academic degrees, including an FTD, which is Doctorate of Sacred Theology. His image is on the right. He's still alive and well. He actually is on YouTube frequently and gives talks around the world and continues to write and give information. His thesis was approved by the Pontifical Gregorian University of Rome in 2012. And in my opinion, he likely knows more about Luisa than any human being alive today. The church is considering sainthood for Luisa. The church has given Luisa the title Servant of God. That's the first step towards canonization. The Vatican continues to evaluate her extensive writings, and translations are underway. There are copies of her writings on the internet, and I have access to them. There are also some of her writings are already put into books. There's actually a book out now called The Book of Heaven, which has the imprimatur on it. Suffice it to say that there are several people looking at all these translations and trying to verify and validate that everything is consistent with the original writings. So that concludes this presentation. Stay tuned. Remember, we're being called to be apostles, apostles of love, apostles of the end times. So that's it for now. Hope to see you in the next episode. Over and out.